Let's say I have an image of this person and I want to make a lower angle side view shot. So I added it into Google's Gemini and Reve. Prompt is pretty simple. Generation takes less than a minute in both cases. Reve by default tries to create 3 images with different variations. At least one of them usually corresponds your prompt exactly, and other 2 are more creative. At the same time, Nano creates only 1 image at once in Gemini Chat and Google AI Studio. It's also available in some all-in-one services, and there, you can get 2 or more variations at once. But they allow you to create just very few generations, or this option is paid only. So Reve has obvious advantage in this case. Let's compare the generated images. Original image is kinda higher angle 1/3 side view. Nano nailed it, as well as Reve. That also created this very low angle shot. I just don't like this variation because of too long nose that makes this face less similar to the original image. If you are curious, Reve uses its own image generation and editing model. So you'll see how Reve and Nano solve similar tasks differently. Let's change facial expression to surprised, for example. Everything else will be the same. I didn't specify if she should be very surprised or just a little. So image from Nano looks okay. Facial expression is recognizable enough, but it doesn't look too much. Facial expression is almost unchanged on this variation by Reve. Second one is okay. This one probably is a little bit too much. She looks more like she is pretending that she's surprised. You can see that both tools completed this task successfully if we compare single image from Nano and this variation by Reve. So 2 additional variations that you usually get in Reve can be useless, like in this case. When you already created some image with person from the reference in Nano and you don't need to edit the generated image further, it is better to start a new chat and there make new request if you want to maintain high level of the face consistency. If you continue to edit some image in the same chat, the face become less and less similar to the reference with each step of editing. You can specify in your prompts that the person on the image should have face from the uploaded image, and this really helps, but sometimes at some point, this trick stops working. You can ask me why I just don't upload reference image for each new request in the same chat when I want to place the same person in different situations with different lighting, facial expressions, or outfits. Gemini tries to gather context from your previous operations in the chat. So if there are more than few requests, the generation process can take 2 or 3 times longer than usual because Gemini wastes time on unnecessary work. It looks like Reve doesn't have such problem with too long generation time when there are lots of operations in one chat. And if you already created images of some person from reference picture, it is easier to edit them and keep the face consistent. I'll show you how to do this in just a minute. The next thing I want to do is to make some professional-looking images of the same person wearing some business suit. This time I created 3 variations in Gemini just using redo button. The person is not so close to the camera, but the consistency of the face is very high. The only thing I don't like is that body proportions are a little bit different on different images. But this is not Nano fault because the reference image doesn't provide enough information about person's figure. And now, look at images I got in Reve. Each one is pretty sharp, face is 99% consistent. All of these pictures look like professional photos. I want to remind you that I use just very basic prompt. So if we compare the best variations from both tools, we'll clearly see that image from Nano has this AI vibe. Nano needs more detailed prompt to create something more photorealistic. And I did another attempt with this reference image. This time I specified that this should be evening, mid-shot 4K professional photo. Man on the images by Nano is still a little bit too far from the camera, despite I specified that this should be mid-shot. I noticed that it is hard to get images of the person very close to the camera in Nano when you use detailed description of the place where the person is located. It always tries to add all the elements you mentioned, so there may be less space for the characters. Reve did pretty good job this time. These 2 variations are mid-shots as I wanted, but probably the face and head on this picture look a little bit strange, like it was cut out from somewhere. Now I want to make this man wear this trench coat and rounded glasses. I uploaded images of the items, and my prompt is, make this man with face from the uploaded image. Wear this trench coat and glasses, location and pose are the same. And if I click on some image in Reve, it will be automatically added to input section. I want to add the reference image of this man, so I'll open previously attached files. And I uploaded images of the items I want to put on the character. Look at this. In Reve, I can mention exact images in my prompt using @ and numbers of the uploaded images. Prompt is basically the same as for Nano but here I don't need to describe items in the prompt, and I additionally mentioned that I want to replace jacket with trench coat to avoid results when the new clothing item is under the previously existing one. I keep the face consistent by specifying that image number 2 is face reference. This is result from Nano I can say that this is pretty accurate. The only thing it forgot about is belt on this trench coat. And the best image of all 3 variations from Reve. Other 2 have little bit different glasses each. Probably, Reve did better job job this time because it recreated clothing more accurately, and I like that even the material of this coat is more similar to the reference. Nano Banana made it a little bit more matte if I can say so. Okay, I also stress tested both tools with this request. There are 6 items at once. I wanted to get full body shots of this woman with all these items. I created few generations in each tool and selected the best results. Nano Banana disappointed me. Images I got there look not bad on the first glance, but the backpack doesn't look exactly like on the reference. First of all, it has some additional pocket on the side, and the small details mismatch the original image. The same problem with this image. Everything is not bad, but the backpack is not really similar to the uploaded picture. For some reason, it's not so easy task for the tool from Google. Results from Reve are different. The backpack isn't spoiled, and even the color perfectly matches the reference, but here you can see that the bear is too small and there's problem with the hand. Yes, Reve can spoil some details, faces and hands of the person on some distance from the camera, just like in these cases. So it's better to create full body shots in Nano Banana. That almost got rid of this problem. So there's no clear winner in this test. The next thing I want to do is to place 2 characters into single image. I'll make the king and this girl sit in the kitchen at evening and laugh. Don't forget that the last image you'll upload to Gemini will define the aspect ratio of the generated image. This time I made several generations too. You can see that characters aren't so close to the camera, but you won't find any artifacts and the faces are pretty similar to the references. Probably, steam that rises from the cups looks a little bit cartoonish, but I can say that the images from Nano Banana are almost perfect. But results from Reve are incomparable to Nano Banana. Faces are consistent enough, and it tries to keep images sharp, but overall image quality is not so high. And hands look weird on almost all the images. And I gave another chance to Reve and asked it to create close-up shot of these 2 characters hugging each other. And look at this. Faces and other details on the mid shots or full body shots can be spoiled, but Reve can generate really good face close-ups. None of the problems from the previous generation with these characters laughing in the kitchen appeared here. I made similar requests in Nano Banana, and you can see that it doesn't want to create face close-ups like Reve did, because it tries to show that they are hugging, not just standing close to each other, so their hands must be visible. In the next test, I'll try to remove some objects from images. For example, I'll try to remove the crown, beard, and mustache from this king's portrait. I got this result in Gemini from the first try. Crown disappeared, but beard and mustache just became shorter, so I used redo button. But this time, result is even worse. So I just made another request to finally remove these details. This looks very funny, but okay, let's see how Reve will solve this task. We got 3 variations as usual, and just one of them is probably very close to the perfect result. So I got final result in Nano Banana only after editing the generated image, and I got this baby face with polished skin. This doesn't look so realistic at all, but Reve created something completely believable. Shape of the face and skin texture look good. Okay, and here will be a little bit harder task. I want to remove fence from this photo. Obviously, everything else should not be changed. So the prompt is very simple. Surprisingly, both tools did pretty good job from the first try. There are no significant changes in the girl's pose. Probably Reve recreated the same face expression and details, while Nano Banana just slightly changed it. At the same time, there are no shadows from the fence on the image from Nano Banana, but Reve didn't remove them completely from the skin of this person. And I hope that you can see that the hair on the image from Nano Banana became noisy compared to the reference and the picture I got in Reve. Both tools generate images of the same resolution. This means that both will downgrade quality of the images you upload. Both have quality degradation problem when you make several editing steps of the same image. Image become more and more noisy with each new edit you apply. What about free account limitations? There's no exact number of images you can create per day in Reve, but when I created account, I generated around 50 images before reaching daily limit, and now I can create around 20 free images per day. But this depends on the complexity of your request. And the daily limit of free generations in Gemini is close to few dozen free images per day. The obvious advantage of Reve is that you can create concurrent requests, but they shouldn't be identical, or Reve can cancel your generation that is too similar to currently processing one, or it can create 1 image instead of 3. And I can say that in fact Google's Nano Banana and Reve are much less censored than I thought when I created previous videos about these tools. In conclusion, I want to say that Nano Banana is more universal tool for wide range of tasks. But if you aren't happy with the results you got in Nano Banana, you can always try to do the same things in Reve and get little bit different result.